welcome you. Whatever your theological stance, we welcome you. Whoever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. Our Sunday services are as diverse as we are. So if you're visiting our church for the first time, please come back again several times so you may experience various topics and styles of worship. Newcomers and guests are always welcome to participate in any of our church activities. If we have any newcomers or guests with us this morning, we invite you to introduce yourselves. So please raise your hand and someone will bring you a microphone. Any newbies? Oh, no newbies. Please join us for coffee hour following the service. We now take a moment to acknowledge that the land that we stand on was taken from the local indigenous people, the Haudenosaunee Nation. Following in their footsteps, may we strive to become better stewards of the earth. It is good to be together both in person and virtually.
Okay, Skip, you were way ahead. We are at good morning. It's okay, we'll get there. Yay! Look, it is no easy job what our wranglers do. And we are, I think, getting a few new ones and training, and so we are just very grateful that we have such good wranglers. Tech wranglers is what we call them, for those of you who are not familiar. So good morning.
Good morning.
There we go. My name is Leanne Washington, and I serve this congregation as its minister. This is truly a beloved community, and I see that we have a few guests among us who came in and who might not want to be individually recognized, but they're the family of Virginia Nagorski. And we all know Tatiana and Leo very well. And last night we had the memorial service for Jenny. And I see that she's here and brought some family members and friends. So today is the fall, well, actually, tomorrow, thank you. Today we're celebrating the fall equinox, also referred to as Mabon, when the world gives us a moment's pause between light and dark, a cosmic breath of equilibrium, if you will. As we engage the world's injustices and do what we can to right many wrongs, it's important for us not to become overwhelmed or overwrought. It's important for us to intentionally seek quiet moments of reflection, of connection, and of grounding, both spiritually and physically. Takes a lot out of us. And if you're like me, doom scrolling has a whole new meaning when it comes to what pops up. I only watch YouTube. I don't do anything else but keep up with YouTube things. And what pops up now in these algorithmic insistences that I see them is just one disturbing thing after another. I think I'm going to have to intentionally search and say just positive things and somehow get off this track where the algorithms know that I'm interested in what's going on in the world, because right now it's hard. It's hard. So today we're going to explore how the traditional form of our worship service is in itself an opportunity to comfort our souls with familiarity and deep meaning. And then we're also going to hear a little bit about a couple of actually 3 other traditions, and how they give us some advice for how to not deny the world, but how to ground ourselves and protect our spirits from being overwhelmed, and encourage us to remember that hope, as long as hope exists, there is a chance for positive change. So speaking of changes and positive, before we make our sacred time together, I have a few announcements to make. Firstly, and most urgently, from the perspective of our congregational life, we need help in our nursery. We are having more people come with toddlers and infants, and we always need to have 2 unrelated adults in the nursery. That's the requirement, 2 unrelated adults. So we're looking for some Sunday morning volunteers to assist the paid staff. The more volunteers we have, catch this, the more volunteers we have, the fewer Sundays we need to ask you to be in the nursery. And now, thanks to Don Nelson, being in the nursery is not a sentence to isolation. We now have a video screen, and you can see and hear. Where's Don? He sat down. He went he went, okay. I believe you can both hear and see. You definitely can see, and I believe you can hear the entire service. So you will not be in isolation when you are in the nursery. So if you're interested in helping us out, please contact Robin at cla@uucnh.org. Now, CLA stands for Congregational Life Administrator. That's the new position and her new title. If you make a mistake and use office, at least for a while, that is forwarded to the CLA address, and so your communication will still be read. But what we're trying to get everybody to move into, so if you have something in your contacts that says office at UUCNH, please change that to CLA at UUCNH. Covenant groups are forming again. Sign-ups are underway. Please see the intercom for instructions on how to sign up for this deep exploration of our monthly Soul Matters themes in an intimate, small group setting. Now, I want to remind you that earlier this year, we voted to work toward the end of gerrymandering and the establishment of fair voting districts in Pennsylvania. For months now, there's been an announcement in the intercom, which contains a link to a list of volunteer opportunities to work at tables at various events. Now that fall is here, and many of those opportunities are associated with fairs and festivals, you might want to take a moment to sign up. When you do, you get an opportunity to enjoy the fair or the festival and to do some good work for the greater community. So I invite you to look for that announcement in the intercom. We also have a fifth principle that states that we affirm and promote the democratic process. And today we have someone here who will, we have a whole setup, I see, it's very nice. A whole setup in Friendship Hall, and we have someone here from Penn who's going to help us check to make sure that your registration, that you are registered properly, that you know where your voting district is, because things like that change from time to time. And if you change your address, apparently you also have to re-register. So you may not have been fully aware of that if you've moved recently. So all of that is going to be taken care of after the services in Friendship Hall. And finally, you may have noticed that the announcements in the intercom have been organized according to our mission. We've added 2 new sections. From our community partners is a new section where you will find, it's toward the end, and you will find links to newsletters and events that the organizations that we regularly support have. I have gotten whole bunches of these newsletters and realize that the rest of you may not be getting access to them and may not know that some of the organizations that we really support are having events, and so we wanted to make that available to you. And then at the end we have laughter is the best medicine. Has anybody noticed that? Yes. Oh, did you like it? Connie likes it. Well, you know, there's a method behind some of my madness. It's a way for us to lighten our moods. I was inspired by my local fellowship in Whitestone, Virginia. They have this section. They have it because they're trying to make their newsletter longer. You know, they have a few activities every month, but they wanted to beef it up a little, so they added this, and I thought that was so brilliant, and I put it at the bottom to incentivize you to scroll through the whole intercom and see what's going on. And to remind you that sometimes when you get the intercom in your email, there are 3 little dots. Like you'll go through what you think is the intercom, and then there are 3 little dots and it says to see the whole thing. You have to hit that, and darn, it takes you to the top again, which I don't know how to fix that, but you go through again. So knowing that you're looking for a little bit of humor will remind you to hit those 3 dots so you get to see the whole intercom. In this place, among these sacred walls, we name the turbulence outside, political divisiveness, climate uncertainty, personal grief or fear. We come here not to deny these storms, but to anchor ourselves in this still point, that involuntary moment when day equals night, when light and dark stand in balance. May this time of worship be our refuge. Let each hymn we sing, each reading we hear, and each silence we enter be a reminder. We are a part of a larger turning, a wheel whose spins provide both change and constancy. May we find firm ground underfoot together and hold in our hearts the equilibrium we seek in the world beyond these doors. Now, let us join in worship.
The flaming chalice is a symbol of our faith as we join with other UU churches and fellowships in this familiar ritual. This ritual represents the unwavering center of our common life. No matter how hard the winds blow, the flame holds steady because it is shielded by the cup, fed by the wick, and lit by the gathered community. You may light your own chalice any time and anywhere. You may use it as a point of focus for meditation, as a reminder of the light within your soul when you're engaging in reflection. It reminds us that worship, as we Unitarian Universalists practice it, provides a protective vessel for our own inner flame. As we share the light of this chalice in our sanctuary, we also welcome those of you viewing remotely to light your chalice. May this flame remind us that equilibrium is not passive. It dwells in active choice to stand with compassion, to tend steady ground amid swirling winds, to hold our hearts open even when the storms press in. In this flame, we commit ourselves to tending balance in ourselves, in our relationships, in the world. Let its glow be our anchor, its warmth, our resolve.
As we explore the spiritual meaning of the autumn equinox, also referred to as Mabon, I asked ChatGPT-5 to assist me in finding a poem. Uh-oh, what did I hear? So, as you know, I use ChatGPT as a research tool quite often. And I'll say, what did the Stoics say about, it'll go find something. I will ask it to give me a link. I'll go to the original source. I'll read it and decide whether I want to include it or not in the service, whether it has meaning or not. It saves me a lot of time going through 5 books to figure out where that particular statement I know about is located and exactly how it was said. In this case, ChatGPT brought up 5 poems for me to look at with the authors, and I read them. And none of them were exactly right. I was like, well, and even ChatGPT said, here, you gave me parameters. This one does this, but not that. This one does this, but not that. And then it just said, how about this? And wrote me one. 4 stanzas, right on point. I promised you that I would let you know when I relied on ChatGPT for something. I'm letting you know, and I'm inviting you to listen to this lovely 4-stanza poem about the balance of the turning wheel. The sky eases into dusk and dawn. Light does not cling too long, nor darkness claim the night. Leaves are amber, ochre, gold. Their breath holds summer's warmth, yet whispers of winter drift in early winds. We stand between 2 edges, not yet the stillness, no longer only bloom. In that seam, this sacred seam, we learn to steady our bones, to breathe when all seems in between, to hold light in our hands even as shadows lengthen. Seasons slip beneath our feet, each turn a teacher, that loss and gain are siblings, that endings are new beginnings, seen askew. That in every dark there is arc of dawn, in every passing seeds lie deep. Anchor here, beloved ones, and the mercy of the turning wheel, the earth's slow balance, the promise that chaos yields its pattern, that we, like trees, may root ourselves in what holds earth, breath, community, and love. I am only hoping that I am not one of the professions that's going to lose out to ChatGPT. I'm just saying. Now, everyone knows that music touches us in ways that spoken words do not. In a world where the news shifts daily, where the ground beneath us can feel unsteady, singing together invites us into harmony, literally. When we sing, breath meets breath, voices join voices, and something within us steadies. Music offers a rhythm the world cannot always give us, a pulse that reminds us that we belong and that in this moment we are held together. As we lift our voices, may the melody and the silences between notes remind us of the balance we seek. Movement and rest, sound and quiet, chaos and calm. All sometimes held in one song. Please rise in body or in spirit as you're willing and able, and join us in singing our opening hymn, Chant for the Seasons, number 73 in the gray hymnal. The words also appear on the screens. We will sing only, I think it's the first line, Autumn, four times. 4 times. So we will sing Autumn 4 times, and not the rest. Before we share our story with the children, I want to say something about what it means to be with our young ones in times like these. The world can feel chaotic, so much noise, so many worries, yet when we sit among children, something shifts. Their laughter, their curiosity, even their wiggles remind us to stay present. They anchor us in what is real right now, not in yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's fears. Being with our young ones keeps us grounded because they live so fully in the moment. They teach us balance because their eyes can hold wonder and questions at the very same time. And they bring hope simply by being themselves, by growing, by learning, by loving, and by mostly assuming the best in everyone in a world that needs all of those things. So as we share the story of Mabon, may we learn from our children's openness, their delight, and their trust in the turning of the seasons. So we invite our young and our young at heart to come forward. Our story this morning is Mabon, The Land of Night, written by Alexandra Ravenhart and illustrated by Maria Fincheco, and read by Karen.
Can you hear me now? Okay. So this is my favorite season. I love fall. I love Halloween, but there's a couple different ways to pronounce it. Mabon, Mabon. So this is called Mabon and the Land of Night by Alexandra Ravenhart and illustrated by Maria Finchenko. Once there was a kingdom bright, ruled by the sun and bathed in light, where summer never went away, known as the Land of Day. Bounties blossomed on this land, blessed by the harvest mother's hand. Warm winds blew, sunflowers swayed throughout the land of day. While harvest mother gathered fruit and blessed each tree from leaf to root, by her side her daughter played beneath the light of day. But far beyond the sun's golden mark, there was a queendom cloaked in dark, where shadows moved beneath moon's light, known as the Land of Night. Warned harvest mother, do not stray, but if by chance you lose your way, drink not a drink, bite not a bite, within the Land of Night. But little Posy, wild and free, so filled with curiosity, one day gave chase after a sprite into the Land of Night. So enchanted by the strange delights while trekking through the trails of night, she wandered far and lost her way back to the Land of Day. And when her belly roared like thunder, mother's words were lost to hunger, she plucked 6 berries from a vine and ate one at a time. O harvest mother combed the ground, but nowhere could her child be found. The worry in her heart so deep that she began to weep. And while the mournful goddess cried, the trees withered, flowers died. Wild winds blew a frosty chill, and the world went still. The sun above saw summer fade. He grew anxious and afraid that this would lead the earth to doom, and went to speak with moon. On Mabon, when both day and night are equal dark and equal light, the sun asked Moon what she had seen, and this confessed the queen. Young Posy ate the fruit of night, and now can never walk in light. I'm sad to say she's here to stay, and won't return to day. But Sun knew Moon was also fair, and made a deal right then and there, that Posy only dwell in night 1 month for every bite. And so, 6 months of every year, the harvest mother fills with cheer to get to see her daughter play throughout the Land of Day. Beneath the sun they feast with friends through spring's rebirth and summer's end, aware that as the seasons turn, what once is lost always returns. And that's it.
Thank you. Now let us sing the children out as they depart for their classrooms. Each week, we pause to place stones in the sand as we name the tender places and the moments of gladness in our lives. On this equinox day, when the world itself stands briefly in balance between light and dark, the practice invites us to do the same with our hearts. Naming our griefs alone can feel heavy. Naming our blessings alone can feel incomplete, but bridging them together, side by side, reminds us that life is always both, the ache and the beauty, the loss and the love. Here we make room for it all, letting each joy and each sorrow find its place in the sand held by this community, held by one another. Now let's share our joys and sorrows.
Good morning. I am Marcia Pedoni from the Lay Pastoral Care Team. During our service, we create this sacred space within our community. It is a time to share significant life passages with the congregation so we can be held in loving care. I will be reading the joys and sorrows, and Lynn Hershenrother will be placing a stone representing each joy and sorrow in the sand. The sand represents our congregation, supporting our sorrows and lifting up our joys. Today, we have 2 joys and no sorrows. Our first joy is from Barb and Mark Dre. Today is our 40th anniversary. To Barb and Mark, we say, we share your joy. Our next joy is from Isaac Ellis. This week, the DA dropped all my charges against me and the other protester who was arrested July 31st. I did 25 hours of community service to organizations I love and will be making a large donation to Casa San Jose. Please, due to the generosity of the people around the country like you. To Isaac, we say, we share in your joy. Now we place one more stone in the sand for all the joys and sorrows which do exist in our heart, but which have remained unspoken today. From far and near, please say with me our caring words. Let us hold in our soul caring these herbs of earth. Let us hold in our hearts those who are unable to be with us today. Let us hold in our memories those who have moved on. Let us find comfort in knowing that we are not alone.
Our meditation this morning will be a combination of singing and silence. Please remain seated and join me in singing hymn, What Is This Life, number 94 in the gray hymnal, which will be followed by a few comments by me and then 3 minutes of silent meditation.
Thank
The hymn we've just sung, What is Life, calls us back to the moment we're living in, to notice, to be present. In a world that often pulls us toward constant motion, these few minutes of stillness become a rare gift. The equinox itself is like this, just a natural moment when light and dark stand even before the tilt continues towards its eternal turning. Our meditation time mirrors that pause, the chance to rest inside the balance before the next thing calls our name. So I invite you to settle in for a 3-minute silent meditation. Let your breath find its own rhythm and allow this quiet to hold you as day and night hold each other in equal measure.
So as you know, I'm often leading meditation, so I don't generally get a chance to enjoy the meditation because, of course, I'm aware of where we are in 3 minutes and standing up here trying to be still so nobody is distracted by my presence. But I just found myself in a lovely period of silent reflection and doing something my great-grandfather taught me. How many of you know how to twiddle your thumbs? A fair number, but not everybody, so I would like to demonstrate. It is a well-known fact that people from Western civilizations and Western culture find it difficult to be still, far more than people from Eastern cultures. So one thing that my great-grandfather, who was very much a Christian and very much a meditator, said to me, little one, if you can't seem to get all the wiggles out, you can't seem to just sit for a moment, try twiddling your thumbs. And he showed me like this, to cup my hands and then to let one thumb rotate around the other. And funny thing is you can switch the thumbs up, you can go forward, you can go backward. But suddenly all the wiggles and all the anxiety held in the chest and the taut muscles in the neck, everything sort of becomes adjusted and fine, and the movement becomes focused. And this little bit of twiddling your thumbs. I did it automatically, without thinking about it, until I stopped and thought, maybe I should share this. So if ever you're in a situation where you need to be pretty still and it's really, really hard, try twiddling your thumbs. Now, indeed, it is a truism supported by biblical wisdom that there's a time for every season. Wouldn't you know it? For everything, there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up what has been planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. To our modern liberal religious ears, some of these words are hard to take. I recognize that. And as a friend of the Bible, I don't edit the messages that it sends us. Put together, it simply says that in this world we live, there are opposites. And in some ways, they balance each other out. We want certain things and we don't want certain other things, but inevitably both things happen. And that when we stand back and understand something that my grandmother, today I'm about the ancestors, my grandmother taught me, smarty pants. She was not as nice as my great-grandfather. This too shall pass. Which was not her way of saying be docile, because she was not. She was very much a woman who broke glass ceilings in her day and who was very active and very pragmatic about how she interacted with people. But rather that failing to understand the cyclical nature of life, failing to understand both that pain and sorrow and joy and success are in some ways fleeting and shall pass, means that we will get ourselves stuck in one or the other, much to our own detriment. That it's legitimate, natural, good to mourn when it's time to mourn, and then there comes an end to that time. It is wonderful, good, and great to celebrate when it's the time to celebrate. But it is really a difficult and confusing time when people are mourning when they should be celebrating, or celebrating when they should be mourning. So what we do is we give each experience in life its due without succumbing to it, without holding too tightly and trying to make it permanent. To understand that all of this is part of the fabric. And I can tell you that in more than one instance in my life, in fact, so many times I cannot count, I have had to say to myself, smarty pants, this too shall pass. Now that we've looked at it from a biblical perspective, how everything is sort of woven together, let us enjoy the choir's anthem, the oneness of everything. So you heard me read the familiar words to many people from Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 through 8, which is considered a pretty great poem about time, and it has been used both in religious settings and in secular settings, and even is a very popular pop song, right? A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up, etc. These are words we've heard before, and actually words I love. There's a lot about Hebrew scripture I don't like, I'll admit, a lot. And there are gems here and there, and in my life, I choose not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak, and to find that which works and speaks to me and seems true and honest and supportive of spiritual development, and cringe and discard the rest, which I don't know if that's an appropriate approach or not, but it's mine, so. Sometimes, even within this poem, the modern liberal mind might wince because they seem too resigned, too fatalistic, too harsh, maybe too biblical. I get that. What has always not surprised me so much as raised my curiosity and found interesting is how rarely anyone keeps reading beyond the indented poetry. Right? This is in a book, and there are words, and then they take the poetry part and they squish it in, and then there are words. And they start at the poetry part and end at the poetry part and never get past to the words underneath it, which is still part of the message. So I thought I'd start by just sharing what that message is. The verses that follow ask hard questions about what gain have we from our toil? So if this and that and this and that and this, and then why bother? What do we get out of all the work we put into life? And what's the point of it all if everything eventually passes away? Right? So what gives? Yeah, nice poetry. But that only leads to the question, what am I doing here? And there's some interesting words. I'll read you the biblical text and then make a few comments, and then we're going to move on to a couple of other traditions. But here's the biblical text. Now, it's written from a theistic point of view, so I'm going to read it as it was written using the term guide. If that also makes you wince, then you can substitute spirit of life or simply life works well in that space. The text reads, "What gain have the workers from their toil?" And the writer says, "I have seen the business that God has given to everyone to be busy with. He has made everything suitable for its time. Moreover, he has put a sense of past and future into their minds, yet they cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. I know that there's nothing better for them than to be happy and to enjoy themselves as long as they live. Moreover, it's God's gift that all should eat and drink and take pleasure in their toil." Oh no, I like those words. I don't know why they are always left out. The writer is trying to say that yes, there's the good and the bad, the painful and the pleasurable. It's all part of that life experience. And yet, if you're lucky, I say, because so many people are not, but if you're lucky and you can find gratification in what you do, I mean, that's really the best gift, right? Is to find a way in this culture, in this time, to earn a living doing something that rewards you in some way, mentally, physically, emotionally, something you find meaningful, something that has moments of pleasure or delight, even if there are times when you're like, really? Again? I thought I took care of that. Right? There are those moments in everything, and that's what that tells us. But if overall you're like, I'm so glad that I am being helpful to others. I'm so glad I found a way to be useful. I'm so glad that I have what to do. And if that's where you can be, if that's the gift, if you've received that gift, then make the most of it. And if you haven't, if you find you're in a position where I really don't like going to work, I really don't like the environment, I really can't find my way out of it, because in our society, in most cases, you could find your way out of it. But if you feel that you can't, then put that in the box of this is how I make my money, and enjoy your friends and your family and your hobbies, and eat and drink and find pleasure in life. It won't always come from our jobs, but hopefully it comes from some and many aspects of our life. So, from that perspective, and those that I will share next, life changes. It just does. What's consistent? Change. What's predictable? Change. What changes? Change, right? So it's really kind of incumbent on us to make the life we desire, to intentionally enjoy the meal, laugh with friends, and where we can find meaningfulness, joy, or pleasure in the work of our hands. That's not resignation, that's wisdom. Now, the ancient writer of Ecclesiastes wasn't alone in this observation. Two very different traditions, separated by oceans and centuries, have said nearly the same thing. The Buddhist tradition speaks of impermanence as the central fact of life. The Pali word anicca, often translated as impermanence, tells us that everything that arises will pass away. Relationships, seasons, thoughts, even empires, even disappointing leaders, even destructive and not helpful patterns of behavior. The Buddha didn't teach this to depress us. He taught it because clinging to what inevitably changes creates suffering. When we expect permanence from a life that isn't permanent, we're setting ourselves up for heartbreak. So Buddhist practice, you all are familiar with the term mindfulness, trains us to notice change as it happens. The breath comes in, the breath goes out, a thought rises, a thought falls away, the cherry blossoms bloom, then scatter, beauty and loss together, inseparable. The Stoic philosophers of ancient Greece and Rome, think of Marcus Aurelius writing in his tent between battles, or Epictetus teaching after losing everything to slavery. They also insisted on facing impermanence squarely. Marcus wrote, "All things are in process." Y'all have heard of process theology? Marcus might have liked that. All things are in process, rising, then passing away. Existence is like a river, its waters ever changing. You've heard the saying, you never step into the same river twice. But the Stoics added this: if change is inevitable, then what matters is how we live within it. They spoke of cultivating, somebody here might be able to help me better, ataraxia? Okay, close. Thank you, John. Close. Meaning inner calm. By practicing three things. Focus on what is within your control. Accept what is not within your control. And live according to your values, no matter what the world throws at you. Man, oh man, I have trouble with the part about accepting what is not within your control. And some of you have been victims of that, and I'm very sorry. Okay, not that much laughter. Way to humble the minister. Good job. Yeah, but you know what I mean. So the question is, how do we stay grounded? Both traditions, Buddhist and Stoic, meet the writer of Ecclesiastes here. Change is permanent, so what keeps us steady? I think there are at least three spiritual practices for balance, especially on this day of equinox, when the earth itself stands briefly in perfect symmetry before tipping toward winter. Now, the three things that I'm going to recommend here are different than the two things that are awaiting for you as a handout as you leave. So as you leave, there's a handout with a Buddhist practice and a Stoic practice. Simple things that you can do whenever you feel out of sorts, out of balance. But looking at each of these traditions, the Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh used to begin walking meditation by simply placing his foot on the ground and saying silently, "I have arrived." Just that, one step, full attention, right here. When the news cycle spins like a storm, the practice of pausing to notice our own breath can be the first anchor in chaos. And walking meditation is such a great thing to do. Now, Ecclesiastes says the spirit of life gives us this gift: to eat, to drink, to take pleasure in our toil. The writer isn't talking about escape or luxury. He means the small satisfactions of living. Bread on the table, laughter with friends, work well done. Joy keeps us human when the world feels unmoored. Now, the Stoics taught that we are made for one another, that wisdom lives not in solitary detachment, but in shared responsibility. In our congregational life, we find balance by showing up for each other, whether in sharing joys and sorrows, or singing together, or sitting next to each other and comforting silence. The writer of Ecclesiastes, the Buddha under the Bodhi tree, Marcus Aurelius in his war tent, they all knew the same thing. Change is coming. It always has. It always will. The question that we must ask ourselves in this context is, what is ours to do? What is before us? What wrongs can we right in our immediate vicinity, in our spheres of influence? How can we increase compassion? How can we increase understanding? How can we support people who have some significant lack in their life by sharing what we have? Impermanence isn't the enemy, it's the stage on which we live our lives. Our task is not to stop the river from flowing. Our task is to learn how to stand in it, sometimes laughing, sometimes weeping, sometimes simply breathing until the current carries us onward, and sometimes to reach out a hand and help someone who's caught up in a current they don't seem to be able to manage. So today, as the earth stands in balance, may we remember to notice the moments that pass too quickly, to find joy in the ordinary gifts, to steady ourselves in community when the winds of change rise. Because even in a changing world, we can live with grounded hearts, clear minds, and spirits open to the turning seasons of life. Amen, ashe, and blessed be. Now, part of this process is knowing what to hold on to and knowing what to let go of. I invite you into a short, responsive reading, which I hope will appear on the screens. Okay, I will say what's in white. I invite you to respond if you're in agreement, Unitarian Universalists such as you are, with the words in green. At the turning of the year, what shall we keep? We keep our promises to love and to listen. What shall we lay down? We lay down blame that poisons the well. What shall we carry together? Truth. What shall we return to the earth? What no longer serves life, may it become soil for tomorrow.
Please join me in affirming our mission statement. By building a loving religious community that nourishes the spirit, celebrates life, and cherishes the connectedness of all things, we will transform ourselves and our world. At the fall equinox, the earth gives us a lesson in generosity. Fields release their harvest, trees loosen their leaves, gardens give their final sweetness before resting. All of nature seems to say, what has been nurtured must be shared. In this spirit, our offering today is not just about sustaining the work of this congregation. It's about practicing balance. We receive and we give. We gather strength here and we send it outward. We hold each other in love and we offer that love beyond these walls. As the baskets come forward, may our gifts reflect the same generosity the earth shows us every autumn, abundant, gracious, and freely given. If you are visiting us for the first time, feel free to let the basket pass. Your presence with us today is your gift to us. The morning offering will now be given and gratefully received.
Good morning. I want to share a quick note about this song. This is John Coltrane's Equinox, and Nick and I have decided to collaborate together. Thank you for letting me join you on this one. We wanted to let you know that our guiding principle on this is that we're going to try to split the song in half so that the opening voice plays about halfway through the tune, and then the next voice picks up and plays through the end of the tune. So we wanted you to know that before you heard it. Enjoy.
That was great. Now we have the dedication of the offering. We appreciate your generosity and will be good stewards of your contributions. Please join me in dedicating the offering. You'll see the words on the screen. May these gifts and the work of our hands and hearts give power to all we stand for as a community of faith. And this brings us to our closing hymn. As we come to the end of our service, we sing, "We Laugh, We Cry," a hymn that holds the whole of life together, the laughter and the sorrow, the longing and the belonging, the journey and the homecoming. On this day of balance, the equinox reminds us that life is never just one thing. It's the courage to feel it all, to hold joy and grief in the same heart, to keep moving through the turning seasons with compassion and hope. So let us sing together, not to escape the world's changes, but to walk through them with one another, grounded, open, and alive. Please rise and embody your spirit as you are willing and able, and join in singing our closing hymn, "We Laugh, We Cry," number 354 in the gray hymnal. The words will also appear on the screens.
We bring our sacred time together to a close with my adaptation of a well-known and much-loved chalice extinguishing. We extinguish this flame, but not the warmth of community, not the light of balance, not the courage to live fully through all the turning seasons. As the earth tilts toward longer nights, may we carry this flame within us, a reminder that even as the world changes, love and hope endure. So as we leave this place, may we carry the balance of the equinox with us. Go in peace with hearts steady and open, rooted in love, ready to meet whatever comes with courage, compassion, and hope. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.